Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Sitting across from me, as always, is Troy Brittingham.
And you're Jeff.
And with us virtually today is Old D.
Old D has the COVID. It's real. It's a real thing. You get your vaccination.
You see, that's actually the perfect way to deliver that, because any anti-vaxxer people who listen to the podcast will just be like, oh, that sounded pretty sarcastic. But anybody who does believe in it will be like, yes, you should get vaccinated.
You should absolutely.
I mean, I was vaccinated. I still got it, though. But I believe in them. No. We were talking about this the other day. Hello, everybody. It's Old D. But yeah, down for the count with the vid.
My
newest
corona.
Took like 6 variations to get me, you know?
Yeah, they tried real hard just to cross
I got hit with
the
the
list.
first one, so.
J&J all the way, baby. Jansen.
Troy, hit the theme song. You could just...
TB&J!
You know, there's a reason I made it a purple button.
Also, it's the top left one. Like, it's the very first one on here, and I looked around for a good 10 seconds.
You have to idiocracy these labels so that it's just like picture drawings so that he can follow. Oh.
How do you make a picture that represents the theme song?
The logo?
No.
That
Don't be
green
silly.
TB&J logo that we have.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly. All right, guys, we watched Moon Knight episode 3
Trace.
on Disney Plus, and boy howdy, this show is doing its damnedest to keep me right on the edge of entertainment. First of all, Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I was thumbs up. I liked this episode. I have some fears for the future episodes.
Okay. Yeah. D, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I can't remember what I did last time. I think I may have given it a thumbs down. I'm giving a thumbs up for this one because I think I enjoyed this one the most. Mainly because it's a thumbs up. I'll explain why.
Okay.
And you? And you?
I give it a thumbs up, but I'm very
He's the most hesitant.
I'm very hesitant because it feels like the show just
Oscar
like
Isaac's actually right behind Jeff with a gun.
dude, I wish. And that was an Oscar
Gun
Isaac
included?
No. That was
and
an
he
I
wishes
Love
the
Oscar
gun
Isaac
was his
joke.
penis.
Yeah. See, D gets it. I just want Oscar Isaac to fuck me.
That's fair.
Yeah, who doesn't? Let's be real. Come on.
I'm Ace, and
I just
maybe.
burped. I hope you didn't hear it.
If I were Oscar Isaac, I'd fuck me.
Would you fuck me?
If I was Oscar Isaac, I would
I'd
not
fuck
be on
me.
this podcast.
No, I don't think we'll ever get Oscar Isaac.
Hey, don't say that. Maybe we'll get one of his altars on.
This episode felt really, really odd, but it felt like they're finally kind of nailing the dynamic between Steven and Mark. They're kind of getting the feel of what that's supposed to be. I think they don't know what they're doing with the Lydia character at all.
No,
Yeah, she's
that's still an issue.
no.
Though I was not bothered by her as much this episode.
Yeah, she
She has a
definitely
nice
got
little
better.
opening. Though here's one thing that's going on that I have to point out. Like, okay, so there's that opening scene with her with the forgeries for the passports and stuff, right? And this is a nice little scene to give a little background to her, all stuff. But like, okay, so this hair, right? This hair she's got, she looks fine. She looks good. But this haircut in general is generally kind of, I'm seeing it pop up more and more. It's like a trendy haircut but it's eerily reminiscent of John McClane's wife in Die Hard. Like it's a poofy kind of it's just a like a wig that someone puts on top, and it's like there's not a lot of style to it, and it's almost like the style. This is good. I just feel like this is going to be so dated in like a year. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, look at this haircut. Like and not just like a Rachel haircut or something. Like, I mean, talking like those weird haircuts from like the 70s or something where it was just nonsense. Or I just feel like it's going to be really dated, and that was
like a
off-putting
6
to me.
foot tall afro.
Well, it'll make a lot more sense when in the final scene, in the final battle, Arthur raises an evil Alan Rickman from the dead, and he has to fight him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what
What
they're
does
kind
Alan
of
Rickman
building
have
to.
do with this?
You said Die Hard hair.
Oh.
You're the one who brought up Die Hard.
I immediately went to Harry Potter when you say Alan Rickman. If you say Hans Gruber, I know what you're talking about.
Fair.
That's you know what? That's a solid point.
Yeah.
What about him from Galaxy Quest?
By Gripthar's hammer.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one, man. We got to cover that movie sometime.
We don't have to.
Yeah, we could though. Dude, just because of what's his face's lines. I'm gonna die. I have a red shirt.
Yeah.
So
that was
good.
I
That was
die
good.
in episode 82.
So,
this fucking episode had me so like yay and then nay and then yay and then nay. It was so back and forth. Like the opening scene with the forgery was nice, and then it gets to Mark's running through Egypt and he's chasing down leads trying to find out where
this was all right.
Yeah, he's trying to find out where Harrow's at because Harrow found the tomb. He's starting his excavation, so obviously we need to stop him. And Mark's beating up these dudes to get information, and then Steven takes over, and it does what they did in the first episode, where Steven forcibly takes over, and then Mark cuts back like a bit later, and he's just in a taxi.
We get a good old fashioned knife fight here.
We do. It was such a good
dope.
knife fight.
I did like this.
There are fight scenes in this episode, and they're much better than all the other ones because it's like there's a ton of actual people involved now,
and not just CGI on CGI.
Yeah, it's,
Do you know that? And this is another thing I was noticing, that like the cape is CGI. His costume is real. They CGI it on, obviously, when he summons it, but like it is a practical costume. It's just it's the cape that it isn't, and I'm just like, I get it, because they made a big moon out of it this time. They did the whole thing.
Yep, they did the same thing that you pointed out in the first episode, where his cape is like the moon.
Yeah,
he's Moon Knight.
So that's fine.
They have not said Moon Knight once yet, right?
I don't think so.
No, they've just called him the avatar of Khonshu, and Khonshu is the god of the moon.
They almost never say the characters' names. Scarlet Witch wasn't the Scarlet Witch until like WandaVision.
I thought you were talking like in general. I was like pretty sure Batman says Batman at least once or twice.
No. In the MCU movies, like a lot of them.
I think it's the ones that they're allowed to be a little bit goofier with, like Captain America. They're always like Captain America. They
Captain America.
They throw that one out there a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. This is a good episode. In general, because there was a lot of really cool imagery. I thought it was well situated. There was a little bit of weirdness during the opening of that big fight in the sand.
If you guys can hear that in the background, I'm very sorry. My computer is like about to explode. Apparently, it's working overtime. Didn't mean to cut you off, D. Continue.
No worries. But the big, I think, centerpiece of this episode is the moving of the Earth.
Yes.
Or the
yes,
sky,
at the very end,
sky.
he moves the
That's
night
absolute,
sky
like,
back
most beautiful
2,000
thing.
years.
Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. The knife. You were saying the knife fight. The knife fight was pretty cool. The little over the top of this guy licking the blade. Anytime anybody does that, I'm always like, don't do it.
They did the best thing ever. They highlighted the absurdity immediately when Mark just like starts punching him in the face over and over.
Yeah,
he just takes the opportunity to just nail him.
It was the
second time. Yeah.
Oh, the second time. Okay. And the first, and then when he first started out and he drew like the half circle on the floor with the knife, and Mark's just like, "What are we doing? Are we dancing? Are we fighting? What are we doing?"
Yeah, I like that.
I like that Mark is funny enough to point out the absurdity, and it just goes to show Oscar Isaac is doing so much fucking heavy lifting in this show, especially with acting with himself as two separate characters.
And they hint a little bit in the opening thing of maybe a third Oscar Isaac.
Oh no! Oh, there's absolutely a third. There's another altar that they're. It's not even a hint. They're like actively saying there's a third altar. Yeah, and that's not uncommon for this character. But well, I mean, let's get to this because I'm trying to stick on this one scene. But they punch the dude. He punches the dude in the face. But like the constant use of the mirrors, I couldn't tell if I liked that or not. It was like the use of the mirrors is fine. It's just that like sometimes they're like seemingly forcing a mirror, like this knife.
Yeah,
is a huge knife that allows for the mirror. And then like it's like he's looking at the mirror and thinking, and this guy doesn't just stab him with the knife. Like it's just a little bit awkward sometimes. But they're like, because he's like glitching out, and like this guy he's like, oh, I'll wait till you're done, you know. And then whatever.
There's honor among criminals. Come on now, D.
It's the code.
Yeah, you don't
But I
remember
dug
the
it.
code? Parlay.
So that was a bit off to me. So he turns into Steven here. Is that what happens?
Yeah, Steven takes over forcefully, and Mark wakes up in a cab, and he asks the driver in Arabic what's going on, and the driver's like, "Oh, now you speak Arabic, huh? You were a foreigner a minute ago." And he's like, "Where are you taking me?" And he's like, "To the airport. It's what you said." And he gets out of the car and sees the criminals coming down the stairs in the building. And he's just like, "I want to talk to you." And they're just like, "You just let us go like a minute ago." And then you can see Steven doing that, taking over, like, "All right, that's it. I'm done. Y'all can go. I'm gonna sorry. I'm gonna hop down to the airport. I'm going home. Bye." And he'll just leave, because that's exactly what Steven would have done. But like, I feel like Steven needs to know at some point. Like, I get the point of him having the constant fights with Mark about what Mark is doing, but Steven, being a scholar in ancient Egypt, he must know Amit is like some terrible god. There's a reason the other gods imprisoned them, and he knows that this Harrow guy wants to let Amit out. Why is he not at least indulging Mark a little and helping him and stopping this?
I think he is by this episode, pretty much. I think he just...
By the end of it, when he takes over and Mr. Knight turns back the sky, yeah.
I think at these stages where he is not kind of purposely jumping in, or like, you know, it's just like they're switching back. Like, I mean, I think it goes more to the idea of like, well, what the fuck is he supposed to do? You know, like he wakes up and he's killing dudes, which is not his thing, and he's like, okay, and then like he's like, go, and it's not like Mark is talking to him or anybody's like, you know, he just starts leaving. He's like, what am I you know, he's in another country, and he's like, I'll go home. Like, this is what he does every time. He wakes up somewhere and he's like, fuck, and then just starts going home, because he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
What is he gonna do? It's like, so I get it that like he wakes up and just starts going home, and then he's like, no, don't. So I don't think it's like him actively being like, I'm not helping, but I do think it's like, you know, but I think they get past it in this episode. I think like now he'll... So long as he has something to bounce off, as long as he has like what's her face there.
Yeah.
As long as he has like Layla there, then it's fine, because she can pull him along and take it. But if he's just alone, like, there's nothing he can do. He doesn't know what to do next.
So I don't know if you guys are super familiar with Egyptian mythology, and
100%.
I know everything about it.
Yeah. Perfect. So
master's degree.
Amit is also known as Amut in certain translations of the ancient Egyptian texts, and I remembered a little bit from 6th grade history, and I was like, I remember Amit being terrible, but let me Google this real quick. So Amit is back half hippo, front half lion, head of a crocodile, and in
I used to date Amit.
Amit is described as a monstrous deity and the devourer of hearts and the dead. So Amit just eats straight up hearts and dead people.
Yeah.
So I think I think it goes a little bit beyond the whole prejudgment thing, and maybe killing a couple kids that are, Steven was so hooked up on.
Are you saying that he might be tied to the bad guy?
I think Amit might be a real bad guy, and there's a reason the gods sealed them away. Amit is the goddess that Arthur's Harrow's trying to release.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just... What? Who's supposed to think this?
Think what?
Like, you're saying that, like, you're starting to think that Emmett is not a good person for...
Oh, no, I just,
I was being sarcastic.
I just didn't know if you were trying to say that, like, oh, yeah, I think it actually is worth fighting this thing. Anyway.
No.
So he wakes...
Yeah, he wakes up and he goes and fights the dudes again and tries to get information, chases them down. And this
is where he threatens the one, right? By hanging him over the edge.
Yeah,
or
so
Khonshu tells him to hang him over.
Khonshu tells him, push him to the ledge, and we see a little bit of humanity in Mark, and Mark's just like, he's just a kid. And Khonshu's like, he'll talk. And then he just like
talk.
Yeah, he holds him by his scarf as he's like dangling over the edge, and he's like, "Tell me where Harrow is." And then the kid's just like praise Amit and cuts his own scarf off and falls to a death. Khonshu's there, and as DJ said, I thought he would talk. Like he just doesn't even give a shit.
He goes,
I really. This is one. So this is the. Jesus. This is the part that this is the thing I really like about Khonshu. Which is that even in the comics, like this does feel authentic to the comics. Like he is kind of like a very peculiar character. He has this mixture of like over serious melodrama, like later on he's like deceiver when he's in the council, like he's like way over the top like that, and just and the booming voice and stuff like that. And then other times he like lounges, kind of chill, like at this point he's like, I thought he'd talk, like he's got this mixture of like down to earth and huge gravitas that I think is like, yeah, that's the character. He's a little bit like, overly this but it's not like he switches on and off. It's just like a peculiar character of mixture of like, you don't know what you're gonna get type of thing. But he jars you because at times he feels like a godlike creature, and then other times he feels like this dude that's fucking with you, and and it's like I don't know how to take him, and I think that's part of the course. And I wonder how much of this is related, because I do think that there's something to the moon and the idea of lunatics and lunacy. Like that definitely seems to be connected here. Like why it seems like they've hinted at like the Khonshu even like splits your personalities or makes you worse, breaks your mind type of thing. And that has long been associated with the moon. Like the breaking of a mind.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, that's where lunatics comes from.
Lycanthropy, werewolves.
Oh wow, okay.
Menstrual cycles.
You guys are okay. You guys are a little smarter than I am. That's neat. I had no idea.
More than a little, Jeff. No, I'm kidding.
You're so funny.
So the idea of lunacy is interesting to this, but it does seem like even Khonshu has these multiple personalities. Is all I'm kind of getting at. Is that like he even himself has like a very divided mind or personality at the very least. So yeah, I think that was a cool scene. I thought he'd talk. And did anybody else notice the Marvel orange screen though? That was a very new. They do the Marvel logo.
Yeah.
It was orange at the beginning and end of this, and I have not seen that color done yet.
Huh?
It was like a
a
strange.
I didn't notice.
And I wasn't clear on the kind of connection. Usually there's something to it, like they did green with Loki and purple with Hawkeye.
The final boss is Donald Trump.
How hilarious would it be if D is like sitting at home and he's like, "Oh shit, that video cord's not in all the way. I need to just readjust my now it's red again." That's absolutely something you would do.
Yeah, it was a weird. They had like a weird tinted color this whole episode. It was so weird.
Yeah, all the.
I actually have a friend.
All the reds were greens.
I have a friend who played through the entirety of Just Cause 3 on the Xbox while his cables were mismatched, and he was like, "The colors in this game are so weird, and I have no idea why." And it took
weird art style.
It took his wife coming in to sit down and be like, "No, the fucking the chords are wrong. Why does this look yellow?" And he was like, "Oh, this looks so much better." It took him literally dozens of hours to figure it out. It's so funny. But yeah, so this episode, where were we?
Khonshu says, yeah.
Oh yeah, Khonshu. And then Khonshu's like, listen, we need to get the gods involved. Something needs to happen because we this is a bad thing happening, right? So, Khonshu does like the super over dramatic thing to get their attention. He like pulls the moon in front of the sun, just randomly.
A solar eclipse.
Yep,
random solar
just
eclipse.
Out of nowhere, solar eclipse, and then he's like, the gods won't be able to ignore that. And he explains that whenever the gods summon court, they create portals throughout the world, and all of their avatars can go through that portal, and they will be at court. And then the gods will possess their avatars in order to speak at court. It's kind of a weird way, but I understand if the gods don't have any sort of corporeal form, and the only people capable of understanding them or translating them are their avatars. So
they give a bunch of lore here, or like mythology here, where they kind of give the they're apparently in the overvoid. They've left Earth, and the one guy at least says that like Khonshu's like you abandoned the people of Earth, and he's like they abandoned us. So there is this kind of like they're like fuck you. They it's not that they like are unknown mysterious ways type of thing. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like they don't give a fuck about humanity. That's not their deal. They seem to care he seems to be appealing to. That's what's weird. It's like they seem to be appealing to. He seems to be trying to appeal to something on their end. Like, oh, if Harrow is doing something bad, but like the only thing they seem to be appealing to is like the release of a new Amit. What is it?
Amit.
The release of Amit, and like they don't want that. So I don't know what that entails, but it doesn't seem to matter that like it'll hurt humanity because they clearly have given up for the most part, or at least some of them. And this leads me to the way this whole quote unquote trial goes to be like, okay, well, this is bullshit. Like these guys are in on it. Like some of these guys are in, have to be.
Or they really just do not give a shit about humanity.
I could also see them just not giving a fuck about Khonshu, but like and then just and he clearly he does himself no favors. Like his
Yeah.
I do like that opening, like deceiver. It's so over the top. it's and he just does himself no favors, and that's another thing that about Khonshu is that like he's so abrasive, you know.
I mean, you see, there's a reason that he got banished from the gods' inner circle. Like they clearly don't
be like, yeah, this guy is kind of a dickhead.
Oh, this is the other thing though. Hother or Hath, I forget the other one's name. The woman who he sees first in here, she is the night, the sky. She's the goddess of the sky or something like that. So she hints to a relationship with Khonshu previously that Mark doesn't seem to have any reference to, but and Khonshu doesn't talk about anything. But it does seem like Khonshu maybe had some feelings for her. Because he does say, "I remember every sky."
Yes.
Of every forever, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if they did ever, and I'm wondering if like, is she kind of the true like working with the devil type of thing? Like maybe she's a still jilted lover. Because he says he doesn't remember, or like he doesn't talk about you.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
So I was thinking a little, maybe something of that. Like maybe there's because they were hinting at something, but she's portraying herself as an ally, and obviously these other guys are being portrayed as negatives. So I'm wondering if that's going to be flipped, or if it's straightforward, like these other guys are anti-Khonshu, but it seems to be more likely the other way. It's always the person closer to you, like that has maybe motive to do this, and the other ones are just don't like Khonshu. So that seems to be like something that they're going with here.
Yeah,
but I think Ethan Hawke's Harrow's like explanation is so bullshit. It's just like this ad hominem attack. that they really just totally take.
What's it called when you what's the thing in court where they just like continue on about some bullshit to like is it filibuster? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
a filibuster.
He's just filibustering the entire time. He starts reading the phone book.
Yeah, I don't think it's filibustering so much as that it's just like he's just ad hominem. He's just saying like, oh well, you can't believe this guy. He's broken. It's like you're not arguing against the point he's making. You're just saying that he's ridiculous, like, and he can't be trusted. Like that's all you're doing. And he's this is where I don't get it. I'm like, can't you guys look like clearly? I guess like from wherever the overvoid is, they can't see what the fuck's going on Earth. Yet they can see what happens to the night sky. It's just a weird thing where I'm like, what do you mean you can't ignore this, but you can ignore just the thing that they're literally telling you to look at? Like, is there a bunch of activity over here? Like, it just seemed a little bit awkward. And the only way it works for me is if there seems to be some of these people in on it.
Possibly.
And if my theory's right, then
I don't know what their motives would be, though.
If my theory's right, then it doesn't make sense because it's not her that pushes this. She lets the other people go against Khonshu. Now, maybe they hate Khonshu so much that like they're just not even really considering it. And that's what the impression I'm getting is that they're just like, meh, whatever, Khonshu, you're crazy, and then moving on. But it definitely seems like, why does this locked away god even have an avatar? You know what I mean? Like, why does Amit have an avatar? If
I don't. That's a good
part that I was like, what do you mean?
I don't know that Amit was like supposed to have an avatar, rather that he's just a super devoted follower and claims to be. No, because he does have her power, doesn't he?
No, absolutely. It's that.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And yeah, this is just a bit quirky. I don't know why they have an avatar. And then like, so what is the difference between what happens to Khonshu in the end being encased in stone, or in this whatever, and where Amit is.
Well, yeah, because
Like-
they show that Mark is like
Doesn't
losing
have-
powers, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have. He's no longer an avatar.
Which is why he puts on a jacket that looks just like the Moon Knight costume.
That's
Does
true,
he?
actually.
I missed that.
he,
part.
he has a jacket.
He has a
with-
hoodie.
He has like a white hoodie, but like on the back, like as he's moving around, it almost looks like he has a cape, like on there, just because it's so baggy.
Nice.
Like it looks exactly like the costume.
That's funny. So it seems interesting that Amit being so terrible was encased in her tomb, and then the tomb was buried in Egypt, and the location was lost forever, except to this one magic beetle thing, and then this one Medjay who like wrote down the location, and it's in his sarcophagus. Like, and then that goddess, she can still incorporate her powers into an avatar. And then you have Khonshu, who's being imprisoned by the gods for deliberately disobeying them, and they turn him into this little stone figurine of himself. And now suddenly he can't give Mark powers. It seems
and then what's the other difference here is like where. So the other thing is like, what is the difference between Amit, who has been ousted by the gods, right, or like. And Khonshu, who's supposedly ousted by like, we're talking about two deity figures that are
Now here's a question.
supposedly in different ways ousted by the gods, because currently
Right.
Amit is not, but they both have avatars, and now like it's a very confusing combination of things that I don't think they did well, and this is the parts where I'm like, this is neat, but it you scratch the surface too much and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
it seems like you're defying your own logic here.
I have a question though. Did they ever say anything about the like? Because like if you take the stick away from Ethan Hawke,
Harrow.
yeah, you could beat the shit out of him. Like is it just
Are you
the staff
sure?
has? I don't know.
Because in the first episode, he
That's a
like
fair
drained
point.
that woman's life force out of her and like turned her into
Yeah,
a
but
corpse.
I think
Yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
staff-
No, that's right. But he has a tattoo. There's another thing.
Oh, yeah.
And in
Okay.
addition
Yeah,
to that,
right.
he's still able to access like a portal to this commission. Like so, he's clearly, and they even
The
said,
Warren Commission,
you're the,
if you will.
You're the avatar. You're the avatar of this. So it just doesn't make sense.
Master
for
of
these
all
people
four
to have
elements, yeah.
avatars, right? And whatever. And they can also clearly go to where anyone is and open a port like.
Yeah,
The
how about
logic
you
doesn't
just
make
like
a lot of sense,
follow
so-
Harrow back to where you pulled him from, and
Yeah.
you'll probably figure out like, oh shit, maybe Khonshu's not full of crap. Who knows?
Yeah,
But-
it definitely seems sus.
Also, one of my favorite bits in this episode was during the court scene when Harrow's whole like defense of himself was just to slander Mark and say that this human being is unwell and Khonshu's taking advantage of him. And then they demand Khonshu release him for a moment, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm not well. I need help, but that doesn't don't let that distract you. This guy's full of shit." And it's like, "Oh, Mark understands. He's kind of fucked in the head, and he wants to get help." And I'm wondering, like, how much. I'm wondering if the end goal for Mark is to like get rid of Steven or learn how to live in harmony with him. It's very interesting. This whole dual personality thing is like confusing as fuck, but also interesting. And I'm trying to like. I'm trying to figure out where they're going with it because they only have 3 episodes to go to wrap it all
I
up.
think what's gonna happen is they're gonna end up living in harmony, just because I think that they don't
It's
want
a
to be
Marvel.
like, well, that, and also I think that they don't want to be like, also, anybody with the ID in real life, you're gross. Like I don't think I think they're trying to skirt the line there a little.
This is definitely this is definitely a character that is intriguing and allows Oscar Isaac to do so much, and it definitely has some cool things. One thing I have to say, as much as I am not a fan of the CGI cape, the Moon Knight costume is a fucking amazing design.
Yes.
Like I said, I am old school Moon Knight, where it's just very white and a black, just a hood with eyes coming out, like it's just all a void of black in his face. And I just have to say that, like, I really do like the basic design of this, the mummy cape, the gold in it. I think it looks really cool. And it's just the cape a little bit. I think it looked better this episode. And they even have a scene that's probably the most weird, like where the guy grabs the cape and tries to pull it during one of the fight scenes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, looks okay. But this character is like such a actor's choice. Like, and don't get me wrong, Oscar Isaac is knocking it out of the park, right? He's doing all the things, but sometimes I'm just like, this is like an actor's dream of like, I'm gonna switch my face, and like it becomes a lot of that. It becomes a lot of like, this is an Oscar Isaac showcase, and beyond that, though, where are we going? So there's all this intriguing visual, and it kind of what ends up happening in this episode is what I think really drew me and really made me think that this was the best episode of the bunch so far, because it was just, that's neat. I really like that visual. I really like this. This looks cool.
Yep.
And that was the thing that comes up later. But this scene was a bit off-putting. It made me definitely feel like this is exactly, I think, the picture of like what you were talking about at the beginning, Jeff, where it's just like, this show's just keeping me on enough interest.
Yeah.
Where it's like, for everything that is good, it's like there's 1 and an inch step forward and 1 step back.
Yeah.
Like, so you're like inching along, like forward, like the tiniest bit. Because like some things are really good and some things are just kind of scratch your head, and I
Like
don't want to keep scratching my head.
You said it, and then I just thought of it. Like, there's a scene where after the trial, the avatar of Hathor, the goddess of sexuality, beauty, love, music, dance, joy, the night sky, all that shit, she tells Mark, like, listen, go find the Magi and find his sarcophagus, and you'll find a map to where you want to go. So Layla shows up, and she takes him to an old friend from years ago who has the sarcophagus, and they have this little boat ride on the way there, and they have a good heart-to-heart, and they end up, like, holding hands. They were talking about songs at their wedding. Like, it seems like they might reconcile, and they seem to be really, like, having a moment. And then they get there. He's risking his life to save hers. It's like a huge fucking awesome Moon Knight battle. He's killing dudes left and right. And then fucking at the end, she's saying, like, I feel like I don't know you. And he's like, yeah, you don't. And it's just like, what's with the left turn?
No, because Harrow came in and insinuated in front of her something about the relationship.
That
so
Mark
like,
may have killed her dad.
Yeah, there was like a lot to this. So they also introduced the like, okay, so at one point during one of these battles, are we going to get to the, like, I don't know where we were in the story. Like, we were at this trial, and then what happens next? Like, it feels like there's a lot of filler between now and the end.
Yeah, after the trial, they track down the sarcophagus of the Magi, and that is where we're at, pretty much. Where he has.
Yeah, what
like,
happens next here?
After the sarcophagus bit?
Yeah, well, after the trial. That's because that's what we were, right?
Yeah, they go to find the sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
at
where
the
we're at.
guy's house, right? At the guy's house.
At that big fancy
Yeah,
ass.
so
With
this
all the
guy,
shirtless men on horses.
all the shirtless,
All
men,
the hot dudes on horses.
the head hot,
That's when
shirtless guy.
Yeah, Jeff was sitting there. He was kind of losing interest in the show, and then the hot shirtless guys on horses showed up, and he was like, "Okay, I'm back in."
And they're riding around just slapping sticks at each other, and I'm like, those are definitely euphemisms for dicks, so I'm in.
And I don't think that was actually an intention, but Jeff really read into that.
I
so this main guy,
I'm looking over behind him. There's a pool of his own saliva just next to his couch,
next to a
lot
similar
of
smaller pool of
gay
cum.
insinuation jokes from the ace over there. Listen, the main guy here, the guy who like is this collector of items that he has in the sarcophagus, Anton. The actor passed away tragically this summer, and that's why they have the dedication to him at the end.
Oh shit!
So he was supposed to have a little bit bigger of a role here.
That's what I was wondering, because he seemed like he was big.
And then he dies essentially off screen.
Yeah,
he throws the spear at him from afar, and it's just he's supposed to like lump over, and it's kind of thrown away. But he's actually apparently like a character in the comics. He's like the Midnight Man or something like that. Like he collects these artifacts, and he does have like a costume and stuff like that. But either way, not doing that now. But yeah, he apparently died tragically in like a skiing accident or something, some kind of fall, unfortunately. So dog speed to that. But
yeah, Midnight Man, you're right.
Yes. So this is interesting. This is all fine. The guys show up right pretty quickly. There's like a security guard that Layla seems to know. Like she knows all these guys. But during this, I think we get because basically they just get into a big fight, right? Harrow shows up. They for whatever reason, he doesn't turn into Moon Knight until after somebody's dead. Like,
yeah,
I didn't understand his delay here, and then he just shows up all epic at the top, right? And he jumps down and starts beating these guys up. And in the midst of this, like, so the way that they describe it, and the way that they really amped this up is that he's like, he's just Wolverine. He's like, he can take every spear right through his body. He'll heal fast. It's just none of this. I do
love the scene where it switches to Steven for a second. He's like, all right, let's all calm down. And he takes one right through the chest, and he just goes, all right, take it back.
Well,
it's your turn.
Well, it's at this point that apparently the third altar might have taken over.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, so the implication being that it wasn't Mark that helped him out of those other situations in like the first episode. It was this altar that either comes in and just is absolutely brutal. Like he's an absolute. So the other altar that hasn't been addressed yet is Jake Lockley. And again, they're mixing and matching the personalities and flavors of these altars. Because like the Stephen Grant character, it's not a character. Like the personality of that is not a character at all. The name is. Mark Spector is pretty close, but he mixes a little bit with like the original Mr. Knight character, and Moon Knight is at times Mark Spector, and at times like Khonshu. He's more like a vengeance spirit. And then this like the wonder is like is the Jake Lockley character kind of like a third altar that is much more like just Khonshu, like just pure rage or whatever like that. Like it just can that's why it can just fuck shit up. But beyond that, that's a whole other thing that I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed in, but we like, it felt like you were saying, we just got down Mark and Steven, and now they throw in like another altar to like mess with it. And it's like, I get it. That's kind of the show, is like they're, as soon as they get themselves together, they get broken up again.
Yeah.
So that's the question I have, is like, I'm like, am I into that at some point? Am I more interested in like in a straightforward Moon Knight type of story, where it's a little more toned down and not so chaotic? But I don't know if that fits with like what this show is. So maybe. I don't know if I'm down.
Did they say if they were going to do a season 2 or anything of this?
No, it's called a miniseries. Right.
Because I feel like I'm fine with that being this season if the next season, if there was one, being more straightforward now that everybody's sort of situated.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I could also definitely see Oscar Isaac not, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if, like, this is the thing I'm saying, is like, I don't know if that would be like something that Oscar Isaac wants to do. I think he would attract to the characters the ability to do all these different characters, and doing one character wouldn't really work for him. Right. But that's always, who knows. So this is the part that really bothered me. Like, this tank mode of not tank mode, but like it's a Wolverine, the fact that he can heal, that basically he can just shrug off everything and know what is it called, where you have no react to pains.
Adrenaline?
No, it's like
I'm trying.
You know what I'm talking about? You never heard of this before, where it's like somebody just they take an arrow to the brain, and they just, or to the heart, and they just throw it away. They do a no phase, like it's called fucking A. It's gonna bother the shit out of me now.
I'm sorry, I literally don't know what you're talking about.
You've never heard of this? Like they know.
I've heard of it. I just don't know the word you're looking for.
Fair enough. Anyway, this is extreme powers for Moon Knight. Like his ability to just. First of all, the strength that they've portrayed him having, like accidentally grabbing a bumper and like crushing it, way stronger than Moon Knight's ever portrayed in the comics. ability to like heal incredibly quickly, like that type of fast, and just not react to anything. Not at all a Moon Knight.
It didn't phase him? Phase is the word you're looking for?
It's not the word I'm looking for.
All right.
No cell, something like that. I don't know.
Incels. That's what he's going for, right?
Incel. Yes, he's an incel. That's it. But this is just too strong, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'm glad that Khonshu's not part of this now, because literally Mark Spector with like. This is hard for me to say, because like all these characters like Captain America and all these things, like I would say that like Captain America is supposed to be about as strong as Moon Knight.
Yeah, he's been beefed up a whole lot.
Like Captain America is already 50 times stronger than he could ever reasonably be, in my opinion, in MCU. So it's like it's hard to say that. Like what is? But
they kept telling Chris Evans. They kept telling Chris Evans to tone it down a little bit, and he's just like, "Sorry guys, I gotta hold the helicopter."
Yeah, he did that himself. That was a real stunt.
It is, yeah. But the helicopter wasn't flying away.
No, it was. He couldn't. Yeah, because he was holding it.
That's fair. That's you got me. Never mind. I changed my position. You've won this argument.
Win again. But yeah, this is just way stronger. So I'm like, okay, I would really like them to like do this whole thing and then leave him back to the way he kind of was in the comics originally, where it's just like, yeah, if the moon's full, he's a little above super strong, like he's but if it wanes, he's not as strong. Like it's just very simple, make it very simple. It's like a lot of strength for a character to have. Just a complete impossibility to injure.
Right,
is
like
not fun for me.
The suit that he gets given by Khonshu, does it really do all this fucking shit? Like, come on now.
I mean, I get it. That's fine.
I get it. Khonshu's a god. You're giving god powers to a mortal. It's cool. I get it. I just don't necessarily like it.
It's not fun. It's not fun if your character can just literally do this, which is why they give him the split personality. He's constantly flipping of it. But like, eventually, what they need to do is show that like the Moon Knight armor is not hell. I'm not even sure. I'm all about the summoning of a suit.
Yeah.
Like, I'd much rather it be practical, but I don't know. Like, it's a bit. They really like this idea of just like, oh, you can just summon the suit and nobody has to get changed or do this, and it's just immediate. Like all these, like Iron Man's a Spider-Man to everybody. Like they all just form a suit, and it's like not everybody has to be Venom.
Yeah.
But it does negate the issue of like, oh, so you want him to like go home, get his outfit on, this eccentric, like it's all this stuff that's like also hard to believe, and it's like which one is easier? In this version, I just think he's too strong, and I hope they power him down significantly. I guess
you could just take the Batman route and just like only exist in your suit at night, and then that's just it, and you never fight crime during the day.
Yeah, I guess.
And you also never have a personal life or a social life.
Yeah, but. Okay, so they have this fight. They lose. I guess they get everything.
Harrow destroys the sarcophagus, but Layla manages to get the pieces of cloth that have the map from the top of it. Like she manages to steal those away in like pieces because they got cut up, and they're driving away. And I think they're getting followed. I think that's how that... They were definitely driving down the street, and there was a car that was like parked off to the side. We didn't see who was in it, but he definitely picked up a radio and said, "I've got eyes on them." So I'm wondering, like, Harrow's definitely watching them. But they park, and Layla says, "Listen, you got to let Steven take over because we need fucking help." And he very angrily agrees by ripping off the driver's side mirror, and then he just goes off into the desert, and he was like, "All right, Steve, your turn." And Steven takes over, and he's just like, "Oh, well, you just got to do this and this, right? And then you do this, and look at that. It's a perfect star. And we hold it up, and look, you see the perforations, stars in the night sky. We just got to line this up, and then there we go, and it'll be perfect." But then Layla's like, "Actually, no, this doesn't line up with anything."
Email in how you feel about Jeff's British accent.
Yeah, email in, right? And you just let me know what you think about this accent. Thank you. I've been watching a lot of
No
Peaky
Cell.
Blinders.
No Cell. No Cell. That was the word I was looking for.
No
Cell. He doesn't sell the punch.
Ah.
Like, so he gets hit by a punch or a stab wound, and he just doesn't react. He doesn't sell it, right? It's a no sell. That's what I was looking for. Sorry.
Is that like a kayfabe, like WWE thing, or?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it is. It's a TV trope.
Gotcha,
So TV
gotcha,
tropes will
gotcha.
have it. Let's see. What does it say here? For whatever reason, some characters can ignore other characters' powers, be it offensive or defensive. They might be immune to every kind of magic. Yada 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 yada.
Yada yada yada. Perfect. Love it. Love it. So
Does it actually say yada 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 on there?
it does.
It does. That's the whole entry.
Interesting.
It's wonderful.
It's for like pages.
But Steven takes over and he's just like, but wait, the night sky, right? It's changed in the last
Emailing.
2,000 years. So you got to make sure we got the right night sky we're looking at. And I don't know how to do that because, I guess the internet doesn't exist.
Steven. I'm Steven.
I'm Steven. I'm looking at the
Maybe
night
Mark.
sky.
Maybe Mark can do it. Maybe
It's
Trying
Mark
to
so
find-
weird. It's so weird how throughout the entire show, every single time one of them's out, Oscar Isaac keeps going, I'm Steven, or I'm Mark. It's really confusing and kind of distracting.
He's like running, chasing down those bandits on the roof, and he's like, I'm Mark.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like I understand.
You don't, though. Now, here's my thing, right? So Khonshu is just like, I remember every night sky, and he walks off wistfully, and then, of course, they fucking follow, because you don't just drop that and leave. And then he goes, listen, I can turn back the night sky to show you the night you need, but I will end up imprisoned, and you need to tell Mark when Mark takes back over to get me out, or I swear to fucking God, little man. And they end up teaming up.
Yeah, this is
Mr. Knight comes back out, Khonshu's there, and they do this group little like hand waving thing at the sky.
Interpretive dance.
So
And
this
then-
is really cool, and
It's
he
super
flips the
cool.
sky back super fast, right? It reminds me of a movie I watched recently that was kind of neat. It was like Time Cave or something. I don't know, but literally they were showing like fast moving skies, like to demonstrate the movement of time. So this is a beautiful imagery, and I was kind of like it's a really neat. It's beautiful looking. I like the whole imagery. This is the moment that made me take a step aside and say that's really neat. That's iconic.
Yeah.
That's a really neat image.
A god
And
is doing god power like things.
Right.
Look at that.
Now, this is where. So I'm gonna just throw out another a YouTube channel that most people will probably, if they do hear this, they'll probably know of. New Rockstars, right?
Not a
I don't know
clue.
if you guys have heard. Not New Rockstars. So they
I
got
only listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. So Eric Voss is like the main guy of this who does all these things, and he got a lot of acclaim for I think something earlier before Marvel stuff, but WandaVision he got a lot of flack because he kept pushing the hardest for Mephisto that this is happening in every single coverage of every episode, and then it ended up obviously not being that, and he took a bunch of shit for it. But either way. They are adamant that like the night sky is not just visually demonstrated; it's literally turning back and has moved Earth 2,000,000 years in the past. They are adamant that like this is what has just transpired. That he has like literally turned Earth back in time, so Earth is now 2,000,000 years ago in the galaxy, and it is no longer in the current era. Like Earth has disappeared from the current era and is now like something along this line where like you can't move. Like he's moving it. Then I'm like, okay, he's moving the sky. Like, I mean, what are you moving exactly? Like, this is where I'm like, I feel like he's giving me visual of it. Like now, granted, earlier in the episode, he moved the moon, right?
Sure.
So he is moving celestial bodies.
I mean, yeah, but
is
I
he
feel like
moving the sky? Like, so they're adamant. They went deep on this and are like, okay, so if the Earth is 2,000,000 years in the past, that means the Infinity Stones are back. That means this is back. That means Thanos is back. That means, and I'm just like, oh, I don't think, guys.
There's
I
no
think
way
they were just
Khonshu
going
has
for
that
a
power.
visual.
Yeah,
it's just a visual. It's just a visual.
I think that's a little too deep.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They did not just do this and not.
Yeah, you know
sell
how
it.
everyone's been wondering about what the new Thanos is going to be? It's Thanos. We brought him back from the dead, y'all.
We've decided that we can't outdo Thanos. We're just going to do him again.
We're just going to do him again and
Old as
again
the-
and again.
Old is the new.
Apparently,
So,
you were bitching
yeah.
about that haircut in about 45 minutes ago.
Exactly.
But yeah, he does the sky thingy, and then like as they get it to the right day, the gods are. I guess they woke up from whatever fucking nap they were in, and they noticed the fucking sky moved, and they start imprisoning Khonshu in the
Do you think whenever
stone.
Khonshu does something, all the gods just go?
Yeah, it's just like a group sigh, a collective
They
sigh.
kind of just get up and they're like, all right, time to
But,
put the guy in the rock.
Khonshu is losing his powers, and so is Steven, it seems. It seems like Mr. Knight is disappearing, and I guess that's what it is, right? Once Khonshu's imprisoned, he can't give his powers to his avatar anymore. So, as of this point...
except where's Amat then?
Yeah, I don't...
Like, this is where I'm like, all right, I get what you're going for, but just make the rules work for me.
They actually
Like,
threw them
that's
in
fine.
a real prison.
Yeah.
Like a real American prison.
He's in
A
Guantanamo.
for-profit prison.
Yeah, for-profit prison. Oh, no.
You get shitty food.
He's a shitty CO. He's like,
Yep.
no, listen, inmate.
Yeah.
Hey,
you
Khan.
listen here, young man.
Listen, Khan.
But yeah, so he gets imprisoned. They're holding the sky. Layla scans it with her Windows Surface pad because they had to show that logo because branding. And she gets the sky scan. They find the spot, and they're like, "Great, cool. We're gonna make this work." And sure enough, they do. Khonshu gets imprisoned, and then in a really weird move that I didn't understand at all, the guy who was running the council, the avatar of one of the gods. I believe it was the god Isis. He brings Arthur Harrow into the chamber to show him the imprisoned Khonshu, and Arthur asks if he could have a moment alone, and he just gives it to him.
He
and
read
I'm
this,
just like,
he read the script and he was like, "Yeah,
This
you
is
talk.
where I feel like are they telling us that he's in on it here?
yeah, like,
Is that what they're
I'm
trying
wa-
to tell us, or are they not? That's where it's like, yeah, it's a weird move unless they're saying, oh, yeah, you're totally in on this and it's cool. Like,
That's
but they
exactly
didn't seem
it.
to like directly say that.
It's either like he's in on it or he's really fucking stupid. I didn't understand it at all. But
And this is the part that's bothering me all around. The thematic issue that we seem to keep having is that they're not. It's not that they're not. It's not that it's. It's not that it's mysterious. It's that they're not being clear as to what I'm supposed to get out of this. Like, are you saying now that it's too ambiguous as to what's going on? It's like if everything's ambiguous, then you can. You're not telling a story. You're saying like multiple interpretations. Could be this, could be that, and then wherever it goes, you're not leaving enough clarity as to what's happening. Like so. It's like, whoa, is there a third altar? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. And then it's like, okay, are they together? I don't know. Even though you're showing them together.
How many episodes? I think I asked
six.
this last time.
There's three more. So we're halfway through. It looks like there's going to be some from what I've seen left in terms of like shots from the previews. It does seem like at some point he's going to go to an asylum of some sort, which par for the course, I guess. For this show. But I don't know if that's going to be next. I feel like we're due for some kind of flashback. I don't know. It's like you said, it's doing enough to kind of keep us intrigued enough or like to watch because what else is on? But I can watch Oscar Isaac
I can
chew
watch
bubble
Oscar
gum,
Isaac
but,
chew scenery forever. Don't get me wrong. But
Read
like,
the phone book.
yeah, for sure, that too. But like, it's just it's weird. One other thing, Troy, how
I mean,
familiar are you with
somebody has to read the phone book.
Sure.
Who else is doing it?
I've been doing a lot of Moon Knight research since I watched the episode. How familiar are you with comic book Stephen Grant? D already knows this answer. He's not a nerdy academic in the comics. He's a billionaire stockbroker, like sleazy Wall Street man. That's that was fucking hilarious
But
to
is he
learn.
British?
No, he's from
No.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've kind of fuddled with all of the personalities to a degree, except maybe Mark Spector. But again, I don't. It's just weird. I hope it comes together. But like, listen, this is one of the things where I'm like, okay, it's not that it's just boring, or it's not that they're just saying. What I have to keep saying is that I'm not just sitting here going, oh, well, I'm waiting for a thing to happen that I'm pretty sure is going to happen. And it hasn't happened this episode yet, and it hasn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not waiting for Kingpin to show up. I'm not waiting for the thing. I'm not waiting for the cameo. I'm just watching
who's
this.
funding Arthur Harrow. It's Kingpin. He was the bad guy all along, you guys.
Now, that's
And then
why.
he got shot in the head
That's
in
why.
this episode.
If they do drop something now, it'll actually be cool.
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
You won't expect it. But I don't want to. So at least the anticipation and the kind of like. Where's the drama suspense of the show is not coming from like a cameo. It's coming from like, well, how's this going to play out? Which it should, right? It should come from like this, which is what WandaVision did, right? And WandaVision and this one, and so far, honestly, the best. I don't know if we're going to put it. Yeah, I mean, if we look at all of the different shows, I would say that like Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Hawkeye are the probably the lowest ones, and Loki, WandaVision are the highest, in my opinion. The better options. But like so far of those, like Hawkeye, Falcon, Winter Soldier, very straightforward. These two very mysterious mystery box kind of takes. Is that an accurate portrayal of like what we're looking at? Like,
I believe so. Yeah, this is definitely a mystery box because they keep throwing us into the action without any of the context for it, and that's what's making us be like, "Oh, what's going on?"
So right now, are you saying you put Moon Knight sort of in between the two groups there?
Yeah, because it's well, I would definitely put it in the category of like WandaVision and Loki. I just think it's on the bottom tier of that. Like I think Loki was actively fun and interesting to watch throughout, as was WandaVision after the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
That was something you guys got wrong the last time. You guys were like, WandaVision started with 1 episode, and I was like, no, they did the first 2. It's just that they should have done the first 3.
They did do the first. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a little course correction for those who listen to a
Yeah. It
episode.
just felt like it was 9 years.
Yeah, until it hit that 4th episode, then you're like, okay, it's fun.
Really, the end of the third one was pretty good. It was just the end.
Yeah. Well, right, that was the issue. It was when they went colorized. It was all good.
Yeah.
This is like a mystery box. It's just not the same, I think, as like the other 2.
Right.
So it's like, but I'm here with it. I guess it's cool.
I'm here. I'm cautiously optimistic for where this goes. I just wish the show would follow its own rules a little more because it's real fucking hard to follow a mystery box show when it starts setting up rules and then defies those rules. Because like
never explains them in the first place.
That too, yeah. It's. I feel like Disney's doing this for the name of like intrigue and mysteriousness, but I'm just like, dude, it is just fucking confusing, and I'm a busy man. I got a full life. I don't got fucking time for this Sherlock shit. All right, just give me a fucking
It's
show.
like when you play video games and you get to your older age and you're just like, there's this big open world game you can spend 90 hours and you go, oh, I got 8.
Yeah, I got 8 right now.
Well, that's the thing is like Loki and WandaVision. At least you knew what the questions were.
That's the thing, right?
And I don't think I know the right questions to ask here. Like it's like I'm not asking like, well, where? No, I'm asking like, how does this world work? Like, what do you mean they're imprisoned? This is my biggest issue. It's like, what do you mean? What is imprisoned, and why can you do it, and why are you here? Like,
why wouldn't you imprison this goddess that you don't want out again? I don't understand.
So either it is incredibly bad writing, or it is this hidden thing that they haven't revealed yet, and both versions bother the fuck out of me. Or it's like I don't want to guess as to like what this means. Like when Harrow comes out at the end, and he's like, "Can I see him?" Like, this should be 100% telling me that this dude is in cahoots with him, and they should have a line that tells me that, or they shouldn't have this scene because it just throws another unnecessary wrench into this, and it's not even like they're playing it off to be mysterious. They're playing it off to be like, oh yeah, Harrow's here and he came to see the thing, and like that's fine. They're not playing it like they're not playing it any different. It's not like they played this as like a reveal that this guy was in with Harrow. I did not get that impression. Did you?
Me either. No, I thought this guy was just fucking stupid.
So that it's just stupid. It's just a stupid scene. That
I guess you could make the argument Harrow. The other gods know for sure. Harrow is the former avatar of Khonshu, so I mean he definitely knows of the gods. He knows about the summonings in the temple, in the pyramid, I'm sure. So maybe that's their reasoning for bringing him in. And then that's like yeah, go say bye to your former master or something.
Yeah, it seems.
Know.
Yeah, it's then sell that. Fine.
Then bring Mark back to say goodbye too. Like,
right.
Or third option, he straight up is just like, I don't know, this guy's probably, I don't care.
They wanted Harrow to have some like victory speech over Khonshu, and this is the only way they could figure out how to write it, and they definitely should have fucking done it better.
And that's why I'm just like, no.
Have Harrow go to like the fucking temple that was built for Khonshu, where Mark got his powers in Egypt in the comics. Have him like go to that. They're in Egypt. He could do that, and that temple's
100%.
location is not a secret. Just go to the temple and look up at the giant Khonshu and be like, "Fuck you, man!" Instead of having to be summoned into the pyramids with the other gods and say it to actual tiny little toy Khonshu.
And I'm sure next episode or something we'll find out that like, oh, you can't do that because like they don't know where it is, and they're gonna have a whole episode finding Khonshu's thing so they can bring him back or some shit. Like, I mean, I'm sure
that makes so much sense. That's probably gonna happen.
Exactly, and it's like, all right, I don't need that either.
I don't.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this to be.
Fucking Steven told us like, oh, we're in the Pyramid of Giza. It's like, cool, that's where it is. Just break into the pyramid and get the thing. That sounds like it might be a cool episode of breaking into a fucking ancient pyramid, the last one that's still standing. Why? Just do that. Oh man, this show aggravates me, but it also keeps me on the hook just enough that I'm gonna watch next week. God damn it!
I think that I am the one who maybe enjoys it the most, and I think it's mostly because I came into the show with almost no expectations.
Same.
I really didn't have any either. I'm literally just reacting to this. I obviously
no,
knew
I don't.
more about
I'm not.
the past, but
I want to point out that the last part of that statement was going to be, and I completely understand all of the gripes of this podcast. It wasn't a you guys are wrong.
So let's use a little fun thing here. Let's do a fun thing here. Wildest based on what we know now, right? Wildest possibilities for how this all ends. Like something by the end of this is huge or crazy or whatever.
All right,
it can be character based or it can be Marvel Cinematic Universe based, whatever. Like, how do you think? What is the big effect here?
Definitely, what happens is Amit is definitely getting resurrected, and there's going to be a big fight between Amit and Moon Knight. And Moon Knight is going to need to call on Steven's help, and he's going to need Mark's help, and probably Jake's help in order.
There
to
is
beat
a Shadow
this
Knight,
dude.
by the way. There's
Is
a Shadow
there?
Knight. Yeah. So in Marvel classic lore, there's going to be a character with similar like powers that he's going to have to fight.
I thought that was Midnight Man, but no, because Midnight Man's just the art thief. Never mind. So definitely Amit's getting resurrected. There's going to be a big fight, and then there's going to be some sort of reconciliation between the personalities, and we're going to find out that Mark has always had these personalities, and there are bits of his past that he just can't explain and never really attributed to anything and whatever. We're probably going to learn the truth about what happened in Egypt all those years ago and why Mark killed all those people or didn't kill all those people. If you read the comics, he didn't. It was his partner Bushman who turned bad and killed them all.
Bushman!
And then Bushman and Mark fought, and Mark ended up like mortally wounded at the foot of Khonshu's temple, and that's where Moon Knight came from, because Khonshu was like, nope, I'm going to pluck you up and give you powers. So I'm curious to see if they'll actually play that out the way it is in the comics and explain it all to us, like the whole backstory, or if they're just going to leave it ambiguous. I'm also pretty sure there's not going to be any like overarching consequences to the universe with this show.
So you just think that it'll be Moon Knight, combines his personalities in some way or has them work harmoniously. Maybe that's through switching, but they're all aware of each other, type of thing, or whatever. But they don't. I don't think they'll unfracture his mind, right? Like where it's just one personality. Maybe
Definitely
one
not.
personality. I could see that as a maybe possibility. Like only one personality ends up in the end. I don't think they'll portray that necessarily as a good thing. You know what I mean?
No.
Like if this were the 1980s, I think this would end with him being like, "Oh, it's just you. It's just
electroshock
you,
therapy time."
Yeah.
Right. But like, I think that I'm gonna go big here. Okay, because this is what I was saying. Crazy theories.
I'm gonna come
not
up,
just
I'm
like
I'm
you're
trying to come
saying.
up with a
You're
crazy one
saying,
now.
Jeff, the craziest thing that you could like that you're just like, nah, this is gonna just basically boil down to nothing, which is very possible. I think that's the standard maybe view. I'm going to go and say that Oscar Isaac has signed on for this season and that season only, and they are going to gender swap Moon Knight from this move forward. They're going to make it have it be Layla and that actress, and if they do future Moon Knight, it'll be her. That's how this will end. This will be the big shocker at the end that Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley, and Mark Spector will all die. that entity will cease to exist, and it will be Layla as Moon Knight.
That's
my big. That's my big jump theory.
That's definitely a possibility. I feel like they're probably going to try to bring Moon Knight into the Marvel universe in order for like the next Avengers movie that they're doing in like a few years' time, and it'll probably be Layla because there's no way they're going to do fucking Oscar Isaac. They're not paying him, and he demands millions of dollars. I'm sure.
I could see they would pay him, but I think he wanted to do this piece. They're doing all the Moon Knight stuff, right? They're doing Mr. Knight. They're doing Moon Knight. They're doing like
Midnight Man was there for a minute.
They're giving everybody their classic Moon Knight, right? Like the big Moon Knight story in the traditional sense. And now they're going to be like, but you know what? Let's not make it that character. Let's change it up because there's a lot of problems with the Moon Knight character, and we'll just completely change the person in the mask.
Here's your Moon Knight. Did you love your 6-episode show? Great. Now it's Layla, and Layla's in the MCU.
Because a lot more straightforward system is just that there's one character, one personality that deals with Khonshu. If Khonshu's in your head, that's plenty.
Yep.
Like for me, I would totally deal with like a guy who's like, being directed by this, or a girl that's being directed by this weird god.
Absolutely.
But I don't need the other personality.
So we now have Jeff with Likely. We have D with
outrageous.
Not outrageous, but like that could happen. So I'm gonna go and throw a big one. I'm gonna say one of the gods. It might not be the main two of the series, but one of the gods or one of the like previous avatars or somebody tied to it in some way will be the second Kang. Of the
second Kang?
You think
second Kang.
One of the Egyptian gods is going to become a second Kang the Conqueror?
Not become, but maybe was, or because they try not to do like real gods, because like Thor isn't a god.
Right.
He's just like an alien.
So you think Kang? They're going to reveal that Kang is a former avatar of one of them?
Former avatar, or just one of them, maybe. Some sort of reveal where a second Kang is now.
So
in
a Kang
mix.
reveal, reveal, right? So a Kang reveal would be like what's his face shows up in this again.
I really ran.
I can see that.
I ran through the gamut of characters because in my head I was like, well, maybe like who's he tied to him? Like maybe like a Blade. Now Blade's maybe in the Eternals thing.
I mean, he is tied to Blade, but
I was like, what about like a
Oh,
Doctor
that's the other
Strange?
thing.
No, Doctor Strange is busy. Like,
Yeah, no. Well, this is the other thing is that this ends the week of multiverse, right?
true.
So, but not that means a damn thing. But we did see some parallels. Like Hawkeye went through Times Square at the end of this during Christmas, and they have a Kingpin reveal, and then in Spider-Man, which comes out at the end of that, you get Times Square, and you get the essentially the Baxter Building, like the what used to be Avengers Tower, but is now bought by someone. And there's a lot of theory that it's like the Fantastic Four that's there. Either way, they're just showing you New York. They showed you Matt Murdock, right? So like there was tacit connections, like they were in New York, they had Kingpin, this one had Daredevil, so there was there was no direct relation to either one, but they had connections. And this one was where I'm like, well, okay, they're about to lead into Multiverse of Madness. Do they have like a hint thing for the because that would be right in Marvel's wheelhouse to be like, oh, right before the movie comes out, we'll give you one last little teaser for Multiverse of Madness, right?
Like drop
one
the
of
same
these
trailer again from Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, right. They just dropped the trailer. No, I'm wondering if they like, either show a big problem like a rift in space at the end, or somebody makes a vague, it's one of the god people makes like a vague reference to there's a fracturing in the universe or something like that. I could see something like that. I'm wondering if there'll be anything more interesting to it, or does Kang show up, right? What is the actor's name again? The amazing guy at the end of Loki.
I do not know. The guy who,
if he were to show up, or kind of as one of these former avatars or like as an entity or some sort, and just kind of weigh in and maybe even like not even address who he is. Like these gods only know him as whatever, and he has like a kind of like a dramatic irony type of thing where like the characters don't know what he is.
Jonathan Majors,
yeah, because I feel like this is another moment for Jonathan Majors to show up.
Another an actor in the fantastic short film Lovecraft Country. It's a short film. There's only one of them. Don't worry about it.
Oh
no,
yeah,
season.
Really
season.
No. There's one. No, it's one. It's a 50-minute short film.
Okay.
Oh, the first episode. Yeah. No, the first 45 minutes of that episode.
All right.
Great television.
Is that it for this episode, you guys?
I think so.
I think
we
so
overdid
as well.
it. I think we overdid it for this one.
All right. I'd like to thank my co-hosts Troy Brittingham and Dee for being here with me
I'd
today.
like to thank D. Never do it.
I thank him
Thanks,
every
Troy.
fucking
I wanna
week,
thank you
dude.
too.
I never do. I'm saying.
Well, who cares about you?
All right.
Anyway, if you liked what you heard, please leave us a kind review on your favorite podcasting platform and like and subscribe on YouTube. And you can email us at tbandjpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at the TBJpod. And stay in school, don't do drugs. That's it. We're
Don't
we're
listen
done.
to that last part. The last part's not important.
What part?
The don't do
Drugs
drugs
part?
part.
Oh. I'll think about it.
Yeah,
I
do
know
drugs.
sell drugs.